Hello and welcome to Indian Masterminds. I'm Muskan Khandelwal, and today we have with us UPSC CSE 2022 topper Anoushka Sharma, who bagged AIR-20 in her third attempt. So, welcome Anoushka.
Thank you so much.
First of all, our heartiest congratulations to you for this huge success.
Thank you.
So, starting with what was your reaction? How was that feeling when you came to know that you topped the list with AIR-20?
I think the first reaction was of utter disbelief. I was hoping to clear the examination this time because my performance in both mains examination and interview was much better than last time, and I had missed the finalist by only 7 marks. So I was hoping to see my name somewhere in the list, but I think AIR-20 was a very big surprise for me. But there's immense gratitude and satisfaction for this.
So जब से रिजल्ट आया है लोगों का, पेरेंट्स का, सबका क्या रिएक्शन, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अटेंशन यू आर गेटिंग सिंस देन?
I think बहुत phones आए हैं. Everybody is very happy because, and especially my family, my parents and my friends, they have seen me work hard for this for almost 3.5 years. So they are very happy that finally my hard work has paid off. And yes, there have been many calls and many interviews. But I think it just reminds me again and again of the exciting opportunity I have got a chance of.
That's great. So you did your graduation from New York, right? So why you came back to India? Like you could have got a very great job over there itself.
I feel like for me, India has always been home, and I saw myself never settling down in the United States in long term. And I always wanted to come back, and I feel like my internship in the United Nations was that last stone which just made me believe that I need to go and be on the implementation side and policy formulation side. So I think that was the reason, but I think I never really had plans of settling there in long term.
So what inspired you to start preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination?
So there are some civil servants in the family, as well as I've seen my family work in the government sector as well as public sector undertaking. So I think seeing their contribution and the satisfaction that they derive, that was an inspiration for me. And the degree in economics, that also provided me with a toolkit which has a direct application in public policy. And last but not the least, I think my internship in the United Nations was like that driving point which just made me believe that I need to be in civil services.
Okay, that's great. So as you said that this is your third attempt, right? In your first attempt, you couldn't clear your prelims exam. In the second attempt, you missed by 7 marks. So like if you could please tell us how you improve your mistakes and make your strategies for this attempt.
So mostly in the first attempt, I could not clear prelims, and the reason was I had given almost 50 mock tests, but I had revised none of them. So even though I had invested the time, I did not invest time in revising, and I think that was a major flaw. And in prelims examination, in my first attempt, I attempted very less questions. So I think that made a key difference, and I could not clear the cutoff. So for my next prelims examination, I focused on consistent revisions. Like my morning was dedicated to revisions of what had been read like the previous night or even the week before. And then only I used to start new things. So in my second attempt and third attempt, I was more confident when it came to attempting questions. And I think that made a major difference. And as far as the mains examination is considered, I think my optional was something I had not done properly in my second attempt. So this time I focused on understanding the concepts, having very labeled diagrams and structured answers. So I think that made a difference. But I think presentation is key for mains examination. Therefore, the focus was on answer writing and concise notes. So these were the major changes I feel that helped me secure the 20th rank.
So your optional was economics, right? So how you prepared for the optional subject? What was your strategies?
So we have limited books, like for every topic we have a specific book that we follow, and I read them once just to get an idea, and on my second reading I made notes out of them, and then I did not open those books again, and I kept on revising those notes again and again, and I took a test series of Bliss Point, which really helped me with their feedback. So I think test series, practice and then concise notes was again something which helped me. But I think economics being a technical subject, it requires much more effort, and the understanding needs to be very clear, unless because in the mains examination the questions are very pointed. Therefore, I think a clear understanding is needed, and therefore the decision to take this optional is also something which needs to be considered properly.
Okay, great. So, did you take any coaching, or all this was self-study?
So, I did not take any formal coaching per se, like classroom courses. I took test series from various institutes, but there was no formal classroom coaching. I did mock interviews and mock tests, but no coaching as such.
Okay, so coming to social media, were you using social media while preparing for civil services, or you were like totally cut off?
So I've never really used Facebook. That has been clear since the beginning. And during my preparation, I did not even use WhatsApp for like 2 years. I just downloaded it when it was needed for interview guidance programs. So that was also something where I was cut off from. And the only forum where I was a little active was Instagram. But I had like dedicated time for it. I used to see that it was not a distraction. So I used to just check it. I used to try to check it only once a day. So yes, I think the social media was very limited in my preparation.
So how you prepared for the interview round? What was the strategies?
So I think the interview round is one of the most interesting rounds to prepare for. And my strategy was based on 3 aspects. The first was the DAF, which is submitted by us. So I took every keyword out of the DAF and I prepared various lines of questions, such as my father is in Bank of India. So I had a possible list of questions on the banking industry. Then my internships I had prepared extensively, especially the United Nations, like what are the reforms, what is the current status, and what are some steps which are being taken in general. And then the focus was also on home state and home district. So I think I took every keyword and prepared a very extensive online note on Evernote. So I used to keep on updating it whenever any new question used to come up in any mock interview, etc. So that was the first aspect. The second aspect was my optional. So I revised the paper 1 subjects once, but the focus is more on the application part. Therefore, I focused on Indian economy and global economy. So they were the main key aspects, and for that I used to read the paper Mint daily to get an idea about whatever was happening. And the third aspect is current affairs, because that is something very, very visible to the board members. So I used to read 3 papers daily. I used to read Hindu, the Indian Express, especially for the explain section, and the Mint. And I used to listen to news in general just to have an idea, because the questions can be wide. Even for my actual interview, I had questions from DAF, but with an extension or overlap of the current affairs which were happening. So I think that helped me in my preparation as well as in my interview. So this was the overall strategy.
So generally जो aspirants होते हैं, they are quite curious to know कि candidates को क्या questions पूछे गए होंगे, because there are many tricky questions that panelists ask them. So if you could please share in detail कि आपको क्या क्या questions पूछे गए थे.
So I had Manoj Soni sir's board, and I was the last to go in my session. So Manoj Soni sir asked technical questions such as technical questions is not the right word. I would say personal questions in terms of why did you go to New York? What are you doing currently? And how did you get the UN internship? And you did well in college. What was your rank? So I think those were the questions he asked. And then he asked me questions about the impact of women also working and how that impacted the value system of children. And if given an option, what would I choose? And in general, how my experience was in the United Nations. So that was Manoj Soni sir. And the other members focused on various aspects of my DAP. So they asked questions about Indore, the cleanliness model, the tourist places, is the cleanliness evenly distributed, etc. And the major part of the interview was based on United Nations. So they asked, is it significant? Do you think certain members are playing a major role in it? And is United Nations doing enough for Africa in general? So the focus was on United Nations. And then there were current affair questions such as on de-dollarization. Then does India have any strategic enemies or strategic allies and why it has not joined any camp, as well as the significance of the Indian Ocean. So I think there were wide-ranging questions, but I would say they were mostly drawing those questions from my DAF. So therefore, I feel like it's very important to prepare your DAF very thoroughly.
So how many hours did you study?
I used to try to study 8 to 10 hours every day, but this used to go up to till like 13 to 14 hours during prelims and mains examination. But I feel interview is not that intensive. So I think I used to maintain 8 to 10 hours for interview.
So like studying for 8 to 10 hours, so how you maintain your mental and physical relaxation?
So I have not been the one usually to cut myself off in general. So I used to listen to music, read novels whenever I used to get time, as well as go for walks or just dance. So I feel balancing my hobbies with studies was something which provided me with the relaxation that is needed when you are putting in such extensive hours of study. So that was my strategy. I think a balance is required just to keep you consistent in your approach.
So you said that your parents' reaction was very good. Like they were so happy. So if you could please tell how your parents supported you during your preparation days, what kind of support they provided?
So I think my parents have played a major role in me getting this rank, because there were moments of hesitation, as well as there were moments where I used to feel that maybe this is not the right thing. And especially after my second attempt, when I did not see my name on the final list, I was even contemplating whether I should give this attempt. But they were the ones who kept me motivated. And I think there was no pressure from their point. They just said that do your best, and that is all we want from you. And I think that really helped me in having a very free atmosphere in my house. Therefore, I think my parents are the main motivators or support system which helped me achieve this rank.
That's great. So now the exams are over, you got the results. So what are your plans now apart from studies?
Hopefully I'm planning to meet my family and friends and spend time with them, because in preparation the time was usually limited because there was some exam coming up or some commitment in general. So I hope I get to spend time with them. So that is the plan right now.
So any piece of advice or message that you would like to give to the aspirants who are preparing for this year?
My advice would be to have a clear strategy about how you want to approach this exam. And once you have a strategy, follow that. If there are some mistakes or failures in the process, do not get disheartened. Learn from them and keep moving ahead. Because if you're consistent, you work hard and you have patience, I think success can be obtained in this exam.
Great. So
and all the very best to all.
That's great. So thank you so much, Anoushka, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this initiative, for making everyone so aware.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We hope that this conversation has helped you in getting an insight on the strategies for UPSC CSE and the tricks and trade of the exam. For more such videos, keep watching Indian Masterminds. You can also visit our website to get information on news, opinion, and initiatives by our bureaucrats. Link is in the description.